Hey guys, welcome back. It's Tuesday, and yesterday we got through both books, First and Second Peter, and kind of wrapped that up with, how things are going to be as far as these fallen angels, how people are going to just become, and the scoffers, and just people going after their own lusts and turning away from the truth. And the ultimate one will be the apostasy, when Christians all turn into Satan worshipers, because that's what's coming. Hi Stacy, good to see you, girl. And so, um there's just so much that we can get into and get just like super deep. And so, it's going to be, hi Mind for Knowledge, it's going to be as like the time as it was with Noah. And so we need to really go back into that and find out. We're going to go over Genesis 6 today, but we're going to go back, dig further, and we're going to go back into the appendix. So if you have a companion Bible, then you're blessed. If not, you can get that online. It's on a PDF, and just bring it up. You don't have to buy the appendix, and you can do your own further studies. This is just to get you started to understand, what are these fallen angels? What were the giants? Are they coming back or not? Questions that people just have, like, what is all this stuff? So it is important to know. And as far as these fallen angels, they're going to look like they are the 7,000 very elect. And they're going to be taking that role, because it's going to look like Christ is here. So that it's going to be really crazy, but we'll get through. Solar flare tomorrow night into Thursday. Yeah, well, if it affects my internet, I might not be on. I can't see. I gotta get my glasses on. These are much lighter, but I know I look like a dork, but... Okay, so... let's go ahead and start. I kind of got in on I wanted to get on a little earlier, but we got a lot to go through, and this will probably go into tomorrow too, but it's just, it's so intriguing and interesting, and learning about the first Earth Age, and this, which is really just a copy of what the first Earth Age was in you in the flesh here. I mean, there's a lot of similarities. Okay, so Genesis 6, chapter 1, or verse 1, I'm sorry. Okay, and it came to pass when men, this is the Adam, this is what came from the garden, Adam and Eve, began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. So this is a whole bunch of people from the beginning, from Adam, and Adam having more children, and their children having children. So there was a lot of them out there. Let's see what it says. Genesis 6, yeah. Genesis 6, verse 1. I'm going into verse 2. Okay, verse 2. That the sons of God, this is who the angels are. God created those angels. When we came down, we are the human beings, but we still have that spirit in us. But these, when you're applying it to scripture and stuff, the sons of God are the spirit beings. Saw the daughters of men, the Ethadon, that lineage, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all of which they chose. That's an interesting statement, though, in which they chose. By then, we had Enos, which was Adam's grandson, and he is the one who started the false religion, the idols, the things like that. And so he was like the first one to start all that stuff. But how far back? Because even in Enoch, he was preaching against that. So, did this influx with these 7,000, or the 7,000 original ones, did they come down while even, no, that wouldn't have even been, I was trying to figure out when they decided to come down, because Satan was already in the garden. He was there with Christ as a temptation, because everybody needs to be tested. So, we know as far as Enoch, but how far this perversion and things like that, because when it got to Noah, he and his family were the only pure lines, bloodlines that could be saved. Okay, and the wives of all they chose. So it sounds like, did the women even have an opportunity to say no? You know what I mean? It just kind of puts, like, what really happened? And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh. So the spirit became into these giants, the Gibbor, that was the prodigy, and you get so much of that, you breed out God's bloodline, and that was the intent. Yet his days shall be 120. So back then, these giants lived, 500 years. Methuselah was like the oldest, and he almost lived to 1,000 years. And as we know, one day with the Lord is 1,000 years. So he almost got up to that point. But the thing is, he was on the earth. So this is not like being with the Lord, with him in that spirit body. And of course, the millennium is 1,000 years. So we'll all be living during that 1,000 years. Okay, verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that. So this is talking about these prodigy that came from Adam's lineage. There, he was the first one, but all these God's people, human, be mating with these fallen angels. It created such a different sort of DNA. And it would be really interesting if, all those giant bones and things like that the Smithsonian has taken and basically held them for hostage, to see their DNA, to really study them. They used to be, in the 1800s and things like that, they were all over the place, but they got swooped up. And it makes me think, are they doing genetic experiments with them? I always go back to these gray alien things. I mean, are they a created thing? But these are the things that happened before the flood and how it got so bad. And then after that, there was another influx. When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, the humans, and they bare children to them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And these are like the Greek mythologies, It is their own, probably peppered up type of what they were like. but nonetheless, it has some truth to it. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great. It is like emphatic. It was bad in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. So, without God, you're going to go way to the left. But not only that, God is the one who changes your heart and stuff, and being in that godlessness and um, just being in that pack. I'm sure it was really hard to be Noah or Enoch or Methuselah, because here they're seeing all this death and destruction and perversion and murder and who knows what else, and they're trying to stay true to God. And this is kind of what we're going to go through. You're going to have the whole world as an influence to try to influence you and test you, including Satan himself. So these people, they stayed strong and true and didn't waver, but these things are coming back, and so we need to be aware and ready. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and every creepy thing on the earth. Everything, like he did in the catapult. So he's like saying, I'm just going to wipe it out. This redemption plan, it's just, Satan is really trying to keep Christ from being born, because in the garden, that was the first prophecy, that enmity between the two seeds. So, and this beast thing, in Leviticus, it's like, don't breed different species together. They must have been doing things like that. And, we have all this science and things like that with genetic, and you can even get your own genetics tested and see where you came from and stuff. But that isn't anything new. So I am sure that these, mythologies and things like that, the Greek and, there's just so many tablets and things like that that talk about how things were back then. Not only that, but being supernatural beings at that, they're half angel, half human, or, half horse, half human, just weird stuff like that. I don't think that we're going to get that far into it, because this took thousands and thousands, or 1,000 years at least, to get up to the point where it got bad. But we're going to see that same type of mindset, and technology, new technologies will be let out, and whatever that was hidden before and what the things that they're using on us now will be revealed, and we will think that is Christ. So it's just all this big cluster, of just deception that will hit you in all different places of your life. And that's how people are deceived, because, if you're not protected and you don't have the full armor of God on, any tiny little crack, Satan will try to get through that. So you got to be bold and strong and stand up for the truth. Okay. Both man and beast and the creepiest thing, for the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So, yeah, that's exactly what happened in the first earth age and the catapult. We read that in Peter. He covered the earth with water, He's like, okay, now what do we do, guys? Well, we got this redemption plan. All right. You will be made a little bit lower than the angels, but you'll still have help from above. But just get through this period of time now. It's just a test. So we knew what was going on. And then when we came down here, our memories erased. And but people still do get glimpses and things like that of the first earth age. And if you're ever like curious or just want to know, ask for that wisdom. I mean, it can be restored. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. It was because of his pedigree, because his family did not mix with it. But only 8 of them, out of the thousands. How many were out there really? I don't know, but it was a huge mix of them. Okay, so if you go back to Appendix 23, I don't know, I'll just wait for you guys because we're just going to go through this. Hi, Deb. Hi, Flora. Hi, Daniel. Oprah Pro Nobis. Hi. An eagle. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start reading. On 23, I'll get this up a little higher. All right, now I can see better. All right. The sons of God in Genesis 6:2. So we're going to go over that. And if you have the appendix, I mean, this is like, will help you to even understand it more and just do your own study and go through the Bible verses that it points out for you. Okay, it is only by the divine specific act of creation that any created being can be called a son of God. So up there, we're created. Down here, there has to be a man and a woman to make a child. So we are part of the Son of God, but that stands alone. They become like angels that are messengers. For which is born of the flesh is flesh. God is spirit. Let's see. John 3:6. Hence, Adam is called a son of God. In Luke 3:38, those in Christ having the new nature, which is by the direction created of God, can be and are also called sons of God. Women, children of God, and okay. This is why angels are called sons of God in every other place where the expression is used in the Old Testament. Job 1:6, 2:1, 38:7, Psalms 29:1, 89:6, Daniel 3:25. We have no authority or right to take the expression of Genesis 6:2 and 4 in any other sense. Moreover, in Genesis 6:2, the Septuagint renders it angels. Angels are called spirits. Psalms 104:4, Hebrews 1:7-14, for spirits are created by God. So just knowing, and it mentioned, if you think back into the garden, God created Adam out of the clay, direct clay. But when these angels fell, and I have just been really thinking about it, it's just something. Okay, so like in the millennium, I saw different things as far as concerning the spirit. And I'm saying this because I think it has really something to do with these fallen angels. When I went to the meet and greet, what I call is, like when things are established and set up, you go and you meet your family and family or friends. Well, the people, either they were in clothes, like regular clothes, or they had a gown on, a white gown. Now, remember when I was telling you about, okay, so let's go back to that. When I was talking to them, some of them, they would suddenly receive a white gown if they just had, like their burial clothes on. But then remember when I was telling you about I was teaching, it was the time for teaching and everybody came up. They all had their white gowns on, but their stature would change. They would just suddenly pop up. If they had enough knowledge, they could go to a new teacher. Now, with these fallen angels in the first earth age, it says they left their own inhabitation. And I'm thinking it was a type of clothes that they wear. I know it's a place where they're at, but when they came down, if they're just spirit, they are able to talk and converse with people. But this is like a different thing. This isn't like an angel. This is a fallen angel coming down with an intent to mate with women. And their sin was just that they were like, I'm not going to be born of woman. I'm going to come down and have sex with her. Forget God's plan. And that was like the bad thing that happened in their fallen state. So it's just something to think about. And as you get like deeper into the Bible and stuff, you'll be thinking of, what is this? What is that? And I don't know, this just kind of came to me today as I was reading. I've been really asking for more knowledge on this. So, our clothes that we wear in the millennium are really, our works and our deeds. So, like with these fallen angels, their bad works created this type of suit. But also, when you're being taught and you go up and you go to the next phase, it seemed to me that in general, people were about the same size. They didn't change stature, only in this teaching aspect. So I think that there's different aspects of the spiritual body itself, if that makes any sense. I know it sounds weird, but I have really been trying to get that. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to keep going. That was a fall of the angels in certain form in Jude. The nature of their fall is clearly stated in the same verse. They left their own inhabitation. This word occurs only in 2 Corinthians 5:2 and Jude 6, where it is used of the spiritual or resurrection of the body. And there are different bodies up there. So, I don't think that normally angels are able to do that sort of thing. The nature of their sin is stated to be in like manner to that of the subsequent sins of Sodom and Gomorrah. And that was just sexual perversion and things like that. And you got to think, Lot was right in there with it. So as with us, we're going to be right in the middle of all that stuff, the whole world. And, just think how weird that's going to be. The time of their fall is given as having taken place in the days of Noah. So, But we had Enoch and all those, so all this stuff happening. He was like 600 years when he, when the boat took off, per se, but it's okay. In the days of Noah, 1 Peter 3:20, 2 Peter 2:7, though there may have been a prior fall which caused the end of the world that was then. Genesis 1st 1 and 2, 2 Peter 3:6. So, just like in the catapult, that the sin were these sexual sins and things like that being done in the first earth age? You see what I mean? Was Satan able to create a way to make this sin? I mean, there's so much to think about, but I'm just putting it out there. The fall, going against God himself. For this sin they are reserved unto judgment. 2 Peter 2:4, and in prison, Tartarus, the deepest part of hell or Sheol you could think of. 1 Peter 3:19, their progeny called Nephilim, it says translated as giants, were monsters of iniquity, and being superhuman in size and character, had to be destroyed. This was the one and only object of the flood, But with these second influx, and some of them, Joshua let some of them go, and they went to other countries. Who knows if these things are actually still alive and in hiding? I mean, in American history with the Indians, there's these huge, giant Indian bones. And, they used to pick up buffaloes, one hand, and just run. I mean, is that part of going to be the locust army too? I don't know, guys, but we even have the Kenites, who are the progeny of Cain himself and Satan, that seed of Satan, and they're from a different spirit. It's just crazy. Only Noah and his family had preserved their pedigree pure from Adam. Genesis 6:9. All the rest had become corrupt, destroyed as Adamites. The only remedy was to destroy it de facto, as it had become destroyed de jure. I mean, it was utter ruin. And the atrocities, and what these fallen angels were teaching the people, and just, I mean, if God would not have intervened, nobody would have lived. It would have been that bad. It is the same word in verse 17 as in verse 11-12, seen further under in App 25 on the Nephilim. This eruption of fallen angels was Satan's first attempt to prevent the coming of the seed of the woman foretold in Genesis 3:15. And that is the first prophecy. So, of course, Satan knows Scripture. He probably knows it better than any of us. That's why he is so good with deception, because he'll twist it just a little bit. And if you aren't learned or understand, you could be fooled. Let's see, if this could be accomplished, God's word would have failed and his doom would be averted. So, he's like, okay, so this is the reason why these fallen angels came down, is to destroy that seed so Christ couldn't come through. And that would have, avoided his judgment, because he was already judged at that time to death. As soon it was made known that the seed of the woman was to come through Abraham, there must have been another eruption. So around that time, when they found out See, Satan listens to you. He listens to you. He really pays attention. If you want to keep something to yourself, keep it to yourself. Don't speak about it, because he can listen. Not that he can read your mind, but when you're out there and you're talking about it, he'll pick it right up. Okay, as it recorded in Genesis 6:4, and also that, i.e., after the days of Noah, more than 500 years after the first eruption. So, at that time, it's like, oh, okay, so we need to get to Abraham's seed now. The aim of the enemy was to occupy Canaan in advance of Abraham. So listen, they came in first, okay, before he even got there. And so to contest its occupation by his seed. For when Abraham entered Canaan, we read in Genesis 12:6, the Canaanite was then already in the land. Okay, in this same chapter, Genesis 12:10-20, we see Satan's next attempt to interfere with Abraham's seed and frustrate. This is what Satan will do to you, frustrate. He'll put blocks in your road that you're going down, and that's why you need the full armor. If you don't, you're going to get messed up. Satan even tried to mess up Christ himself. Okay, frustrate the purpose of God that it should be in Isaac. This attempt, see, you had Ishmael and Isaac, and so you had all that mess, and he was sent away with the mother, but Isaac was the true seed. This attempt was repeated in 21:18. This great conflict may be seen throughout the Bible, and it forms a great and important subject of biblical study. In each case, the human instrument had his personal interest to serve, while Satan had his own great object in view. So you, as one of the 7,000, he's going to really try to trip you up. And as we get closer and things like that, he works through people. He works through any way that he can get in. So you really have to be learned, studied up, and know what to do when calamities just come up. And just know that these aren't from God. These are from Satan. These are attacks. Hence, God had in each case to interfere and avert the evil. He interferes with the very elect. He's watching. He's not going to let anything bad, like super bad, happen to you. And you also have your choices that you have to make too. Okay, interfere and avert the evil and the danger of which his servants and people were wholly ignorant. The following assaults of the great enemy stand out. Okay, so the thing is, the enemy, that is really the spiritual warfare that we face. We just have to look at reality for what it is and understand that veil is very close. And Satan has his own evil spirit down here and his evil spirits. When you have the full armor of God and you know what you're doing, they will run from you. But before then, they're going to try and mess you up. They tried to mess up Christ. They've had the prophets and people like that killed and things like that. This next time, they're going to try to kill you spiritually. But you are used, your purpose is to be delivered up and to allow the Holy Spirit to speak through you, to break that spell, that bind that Satan has over them at that time. And it's all divine, If you don't allow that Holy Spirit to speak through you, that is the unforgivable sin. You cannot be forgiven for that because you should know. And if you're in line and you're waiting to be delivered up in that line and you see someone who isn't doing that, don't pray for them. You're not even supposed to pray for them because they know and they didn't do it. But I don't see anybody not doing that after everything that we're going to be going through. Like, why stop there? You know, you're almost at the end. The destruction of the chosen family by famine in 50:20, 50, chapter 50, verse 20. The destruction of the male line in Israel, Exodus 1:10, 15. And see the destruction of the whole name in Pharaoh's pursuit in Exodus 14. After David's line was singled out in 2 Samuel 7, that was the next selected for assault. So each one. Now we are coming at the end. Look back in your life and you could see where God intervened in your life. Where something that should have gone terribly wrong, you came out smelling like a rose. Just, this is how God protects you. Satan's first assault was in the union of Jeroboam and Athaliah by Jehoshaphat, notwithstanding 2 Chronicles 17:1. Jehoram killed off all his brothers in 2 Chronicles 21:4. So, like I've been saying before, the Old Testament is examples that you can go by and see. And this is why it's really important to read the Old and New Testament. The Arabians slew off all his children except Azahiah in 2 Chronicles 21:17 and chapter 22:1. When Azahiah died, Athaliah killed all the seed royal. So, you know, the king line, you know, is always being persecuted. I mean, even get down to, you know, in Germany and all that stuff. I mean, Christ had already been born, but they're still trying to, you know, they're still suffering from that. The babe Joash alone was rescued, and for 6 years the faithfulness of Yahweh's word was at stake. He had to stay hidden. Nobody could know that he was in there. But, you know, Christ will hide you. God will hide you. You know, there are times when Jesus was in a crowd and everybody was looking at him and things like that, and he escaped. You know, God made him hidden. And this, you know, as far as we go, when we are delivered up, it will be at the right time. So just know that when you're delivered up, just don't fight it. Just do what you need to do. Hezekiah was childless, when a double assault was made by the king of Assyria. That's another name for Satan. And the king of terrors, Isaiah 36:1 and 38:1. God's faithfulness was appealed and relied on, Psalms 136. And you can really dig out a lot in Psalms. There's a lot of prophecy in there. In captivity, Haman was used to attempt the destruction of the whole nation, and that was Esther. Joseph's fear was worked on, Mary and Joseph. Joseph's fear was worked on in Matthew 1:18 through 20, notwithstanding the fact that he was a just man. So even though, you know, you walk right, you're going to get knocked against. I mean, there's just so many times in my life that it's just, things just come out of nowhere, you know, and it's like, where did this come from? It's constant assaults trying to beat you down, trying to make it appear as you are a bad person when you're not. But anyway, with Joseph, the fact that he was a just man and kept the law, you got to keep that, you got to keep the word. he did not wish to have Mary stoned to death, which was in Deuteronomy 24, to, going outside the marriage or, having premarital sex. Hence, Joseph determined to divorce her, but God intervened. Fear not. This is all good. This is going to be my son. You're going to help raise him. But Mary's good to go. This is all planned. This is what's been foretold in all the prophets and coming up. It is that time now. Herod sought the young child's life in Matthew 2. At the temptation, cast thyself down with Satan's temptation. Like, oh, if you, go off this cliff, the angels will save you, and he came back with, don't tempt God, That's kind of dumb. There's been a lot of times when, people have tempted God and got hurt or killed. At Nazareth again, Luke 4, there was another attempt to cast him down and destroy him. The 2 storms on the lake were other attempts. A lot of people think that was just one storm, but it was 2 storms, and this storm came up by Satan himself. At the length the cross was reached and the sepulchre closed, the watch set and the stone sealed, but God raised him from the dead. So they're trying to keep him in there, and say, well, he didn't rise, like it was prophesied, but it happened. And now, like another Joash, he is seated and expecting. Hebrews 10, 12, 13, hidden in the house of God on high, and the members of the one body are hidden there in him. We're hidden. See? And nothing's going to happen that isn't expected, that God doesn't already know it's going to happen, and he will intervene. People say, how do I know if I'm going in the right direction? If you're getting a bunch of roadblocks, say that, you want to move, but you don't know where, and you test a place over in one place, and you research it, and you put a bid down on a house or whatever. If it doesn't go through, probably wasn't meant to be, so just keep looking. But he will put you in that place, regardless of what, He has his hand in your life. Okay, like another Jehoshaphat, and going forth to witness of his coming, like another Jehoiada in 2 Chronicles 23:3. The eruption of the fallen angels, sons of God, was the first attempt and was directed against the whole human race. Satan does not care about you. He went against the plan, he and his little followers, and he wants everybody to die. When Abraham was called, then he and his seed were attacked. When David was enthroned, then the royal line was assailed. And when the seed of the woman himself came, then the storm burst upon him. And that happened to Job and all sorts of people, but it's a crazy life when you really see and believe and your eyes are open. He will come against you. And even if you're not, like me as a child, I should have been murdered twice dead, but I was saved, and I saw an actual angel from the Lord who reported that to me. And so these angels are here to help you if the time comes. So you're never alone. That's what I'm trying to say too, is that your path is being guided, and he's going to interfere with your life. If you're going off that, he's going to knock you back on there. And that's the good news, because you really don't have to worry. Tomorrow, we're going to be going over this a little bit more just to get a thorough understanding of what this is, because these supernatural beings are going to be here on earth again de facto, and they're going to try to take over. And you know, the more you know about it, the better off you're going to be, because like the time of Noah, that eating and drinking and all this good stuff and the luxury of men, taking out the word of God, and people are gonna get what they want, and that's what is their lure, and for us, we'll kind of be standing in but outside, and that's the biggest catch as well. You're not participating. So like in the first earth age, this is just my thought, but those who rebelled, like we're with Satan in that war, and those who fought against, these are the people here on earth now doing the same sort of battle, but the spiritual battle. And these family members and things like that, I think that we knew them before. That, whether they're lukewarm or whatever, but it's very similar to what happened in the first earth age. And some of this, the fallen angels coming down, how were they able to come down, things like that. Just keep working on it, you know what I mean? If you really want that information, God's going to give it to you. Let's see. Who's all here? Let's see. Someone from Russia? I don't know how to say your name, but hello, dear sir or ma'am. Daniel. Old Yeller. Oh, good to see you back. And Roxanne. And Melody. I forgive Adam and Eve. However, won't be eating no apples in heaven. I learned that lesson. Let's see. And JD is back. Yay! And Deb, how are you feeling, Deb? I know you got your stitches out, but how's that going? And Eagle says that's so true about Yahweh sending his angels to watch over us. I can testify to that. What happened? Can you, briefly tell us? Let's see. Yes, that's what Pastor Murray teaches about the lost being here now. Yeah. I honestly, because it's just a test, and God can bring back into remembrance. You just have to really search and seek, and you know how you meditate on things and just mull over things. I just got a whole flood of information, and I've been waiting for that for a long time. So, you have your own personal growth and things like that, and I don't think anybody could be as wise and everything as Solomon, but you can try. There's no harm trying. A little sore. I had PT today. Oh, well, take care. Don't overdo it. I couldn't imagine. My back hurts for that. Let's see. So tell us, Eagle, what happened? I'll wait for you. Prayers go up for everyone. Yes, prayers and blessings. I always pray for you guys every day. And, whatever is the will of God, whatever he wants in your life. But if you're having problems, to help you through. And, you know, because you're all going to have your own little personal stuff. And then in time of Jacob, you know, Jacob's trouble. And, you know, my prayer for all of you is that you're strong enough, that you aren't all worn, one of those people that we read in Daniel, that some of you will fall. And, just you'll need to have God to give you some more of his strength. I mean, I pray for all of you that you won't even need that you'll be strong enough before that, you know, to be like, well, I got this. Here we go. Let's see. I was pushed off a bridge and the angels pushed me back. If I would have fallen, I would die. I was about 11 years old. See, Eagle? I mean, it does happen. And he is still alive. God is still on the throne, and nothing has changed. You know, and we have these evil entities, and you know, you can go on one side or the other, but if you aren't protected, if you go on that wrong side, boy, you can get really beat up bad. Just be dragged down. See, I can testify too. The angels have protected me several times as well. What happened, Roxanne? This is really interesting. See, I witnessed God do Jedi mind trick on cops for me a few times. Cool. How did that work out? Like, just changing people's minds? I know there's a thing coming up for me where God is going to change the mind of this one person, and, you know, it's going to go well, so I'm not really, you know, we all just have our own weirdness, our own stuff, and to testify, you know. Do Jedi mind tricks is like, I don't know. I'll tell you what though, we're getting into that weird supernatural stuff that we really should have been taught about this even as a little tiny kid. So, even little kids can get this, but it seems like it's easier to learn when you're a kid. The thing is the teacher, you know, and that's where Satan has really got a hold of this nation, is through the education system and getting them at a younger and younger age. You know, they get them at 2 years old, you know, and start doing their propaganda on them and stuff. And you know, you pay all this money to help them go to a good university, and you've got these idiot professors who have tenure, who talk about anything they want, and you talk about this communism as if it's good, and then you get radicals. I mean, this is where all that's coming from. So Satan has been hard at work. See, Eagle says, I was behind a wood stove and my dad told me to go into the other room and sit by the vent. The stove blew up just as I was going. Wow. Just in time. Roxanne says, I was driving after a snowstorm and crossed a lane where there was snow, caused me to go into a spin on the highway around 70 miles per hour. I started to slam into the wall and someone ended up, I'm in the middle of the road instead. I have no idea how that happened. It was divine intervention. Yep, no wreck, no damage. That certainly. Let's see. Haydar Kareem. Hi, Haydar Kareem. Let's see. Can I ask you fashion question? Fashion question? Is that what you mean? Fashion question. I'm probably not one that you want to get advice about fashion if you fashion. Would you please show us how to tie shirt or jacket around waist? What? Let's see, like a 2-year-old. Well, that's really easy. All you have to do is grab the sleeves and just tie it around. I don't do fashion shows. There are a lot of people from different countries in here today. How are you doing, Flora? I don't know if you're still in here, but Flora needs a lot of prayer too because she's been really sick. No, I don't do fashion shows. We just stick to the basic stuff here. I fell out of a 2-story window. Let's see. I fell out of a 2-story window when I was about 8 and I passed out. When I woke up, I couldn't see for about half an hour and was not hurt. Wow. Yeah, you escaped death a lot of times. God was right there. Just get the sleeves and pull them around your waist and tie. Yeah, just do it that. It's just take the sleeves and put them around and tie. Or you can put it around your shoulders and just tie. Okay, guys. Remember to keep Flora in your prayers because she is really having a hard time with her health. And also Deb, keeping her. So she is, this is weird. Okay, guys, so tomorrow we're going to go over some more of this and just get into, deep with this and just, it is going to be pretty cool. So, God bless everyone, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 Pacific Standard Time, and have a good evening, okay? Bye.